Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Sri Ramakrishna is giving private instruction to a devotee on the northern veranda. And the Guru, taking him privately, he is teaching him how to meditate. There is a little later, Sri Ramakrishna began to talk to a devotee privately on the veranda north of his room. He said, "It is good to meditate in small hours of the morning at dawn, and at dawn one should also meditate daily after dusk." He instructed the devotee about the meditation on personal God and impersonal reality. We see in this Hinduism there is the ultimate. We have the rare opportunity to transcend the entire nature and go beyond. And most of the other religions, we find they have not entered into the transcendental realm. The understanding of divinity, spirituality, and all that remains incomplete. It is truth. Whatever they say is truth. But beyond also is there. Suppose a high school child says anything what he has studied, he has mastered everything, he is able to earn with that education, he can make his living, everything is all right. That education is sufficient, but there is beyond also. As we are seeing in our own times, in childhood days, what we studied, all the subjects, whether it's social studies or science or mathematics or any engineering subject, all that, every day it is expanding in unimaginable dimensions. Now with the coming out of the traditional way of looking at science, when we come to the modern science pertaining especially with the IT system, the computers, it has taken an entirely different dimension. We are in an entirely different dimension altogether. Just a few decades back, computer was not there. There was neither the television nor the mobile phone. It was a different world. Now it is a different world. How the time changes, how developments come into picture, how the subjects are expanding, limitless. And where is the end? There is no end. As you go higher, now a schoolboy has learnt up to 10th standard, and still it is sufficient for him. It is complete for him. He can find a job for his life. He can make a happy living also. But there is beyond. Like that in religious field also. What the 10th standard boy is telling is not false. But it is incomplete, we feel, with respect to higher education. Otherwise it is complete in itself. To that level it is complete in itself. But when you compare, go to higher level of understanding, it is incomplete. It is true, everything is valid and true, but when you enter into higher level, now suddenly the sciences enter into new dimension altogether. With computer science, it has entered a new dimension. Now, few decades back it was not there. In our childhood days also it was not there. Just a radio has come and television understanding is there. That's all. Later on, during our college days, we saw closed circuit TVs being displayed in exhibitions. And public TV and this one has not yet come. But the possibility is being told. Now the world has changed. We have entered into a new dimension. Similarly, all religions are true and complete by themselves to that level. There is nothing wrong. It is complete and true and genuine, and then it is sufficient for human living. A moral perfection and a devotion to God is sufficient. And they can reach the ultimate goal of human life also by transcending the nature. It takes its own course. But in Hinduism, they went to another dimension, and another dimension, yet another dimension, yet another dimension of unlimited expansion. And finally, till they found one root, which is the source of all, they went on. The Urdhva Mula Mother Shakha. All were shakhas below, and only one root at the end. So that there we make the difference between all other religions and ancient Hindu culture and Hindu religion, which we actually call religion in terms of human understanding, but it is not a religion. It is what nature wants man to live and exist as. He is to live on this earth as God. So this understanding of nature, the transcendental, the various levels of consciousness, science has not yet entered into the three levels of consciousness we are passing through: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. They are not able to explain what is dream state, what is deep sleep, Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. We have three bodies pertaining to these. The inner transcendence or external transcendence, they have not been able to do. And their only existence is existence in the waking state with five senses and mind behind it, intellect to discern. This is the science world. What's the five senses? With five senses, what are you perceiving? That alone is truth. There is no God, there is no Atman, there is no self, there is nothing beyond. This is life, this is creation. So to that extent, what you see with the five senses, even the state which you are actually passing through level of consciousness, are there any other levels of consciousness? Higher levels of consciousness. We go to the root, deep sleep, dream state, waking. Are there any higher levels of consciousness? Is this all the consciousness we have? Waking consciousness, dreaming consciousness, and deep sleep consciousness. Is it all? Or is there a way to enter into different levels of consciousness? This Hinduism gives the various levels of consciousness with which you can perceive the same world. You are in the same world when you sleep, when you are in deep sleep also in the same world, but you are experiencing a different dimension altogether. You are perceiving a causal dimension, a subtle dimension, and a gross dimension. Is there a still higher dimension which is more real, which is more clear, which is more blissful, which is gives more freedom to the soul? Are there? So this struggle, how this struggle began in Indian context is they were free from the nature's harshness. They had not to take care of their body much. Everything was provided. In India, the hottest place is there, coldest place is there simultaneously. If you want coldest place, now also ice-bound places are there. If you want hottest place, it is there. At this moment, there are deserts where you will find heat. So there is water you want, ocean is there, rivers are there, so many places, huge reservoirs, tanks, ponds, sarovara, so many things, whatever you want, forests, plains, grasslands, Himalayan mountains, hills, ranges, all you have. Where you want to settle down, settle down. What is comfortable to you, whenever, whichever is comfortable, go and stay there. You see, summer resort may be somewhere, winter resort may be somewhere. Most of the monks go to Himalayas during the summer and come down when the winter begins there, to the plains. Now, with this most helpful way of nature, man had not to worry about the plenty of food. Once you know the agriculture, small techniques, you can have sufficient food. And everything was flourishing. So time was there to turn inward. First thing what bothered was, what is death? Where do we go? What is birth? Where from do we come? What is sleep? How do we forget this world totally, and including my body, how I forget myself? These were the most concerns. The mystery that they saw in the world is death. My most beloved, whom I have given birth and brought up, is no more, before very my eyes. So this is to create this search, what is beyond? Where do we go? How do we enter into sleep? What is within? What are the layers I am passing through? Where do I go in sleep? This led to the entering into the transcendental realm, to the beyond. Search for the beyond. There we see we are entering into an entirely different world. So there are two really existences. When we search and we succeed in transcending the nature, entire nature at gross, subtle and causal level, when we transcend and go beyond Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, when we transcend and go either inward or outward expansion or inward journey, we enter into another realm which we call transcendental realm. We transcend this nature and go beyond. Just like we transcend this physical world and enter into sleep, a more unconscious state. We enter into a higher conscious state of transcendental. So we have two realities, the absolute and the relative. And what do we call God? When in Hinduism, when we say God, the moment we say God, It is eternal, unchanging reality in which the whole world and all things exist. There we see a new world, a world entirely different from what we see here. So, the transcendental reality is one where we see the thing in a different view. So, there are two realities: the physical world in which we are governed by time, space, and causation. When we say God, it is unchanging, eternal reality. When we say personal God, it gives a different meaning. When we say impersonal God, it is absolute existence, beyond all limitations. So it goes beyond all limits. Here then, there we see a new world of its own. Then we see, when we say God, there will be just like two existences. The absolute existence and the relative existence. The whole unchanging eternal reality, the transcendental realm, the whole universe appears and disappears. Just like I sleep, leaving the whole thing, body, mind, senses, one by one I leave and go to the core of my existence, my pure spiritual existence, and again project back. Every day I do the same thing, often and often. Like that, the whole universe is microcosm and macrocosm. Whole universe dissolves in the absolute and again appears, in which the universe appear and disappear we call absolute existence. It is infinite. It is eternal. This is finite. This is like a speck in a huge ocean of limitless, endless ocean. And that ocean is ocean of consciousness, Chaitanya. It is ocean of bliss and bliss alone. There is no duality. There is no triad. Bliss, ocean of bliss alone. There is no enjoyer and enjoyership. The object of enjoyment is not there. It is an ocean of love, pure love, love alone, without a lover and loved. So that ocean which has no duality, it is eternal, infinite. Infinite means apart from it nothing exists. What all exists is that alone. In that, a time and space appear without affecting what it is there. It is its manifestation. Just like in my mind, thoughts appear and disappear without affecting the mind. Like something, light appears and disappears in space without affecting the space. So here also, universes appear and disappear without affecting the. Now so many things are there in space. Space is not affected by giving room to all of these things which exist in it. It may appear and disappear. Space doesn't get affected by it. Like that, the absolute doesn't get affected by the presence or absence of this universe. So the universe appears and disappears. When it appears, it is within the absolute. This is within the absolute. Now, absolute is pervading it. It is manifestation of the absolute. A thought in my mind is production of my mind. My mind is creating a thought in it, a mentation. So, like that, the universe is a manifestation of the Absolute. In the Absolute is manifesting like thought in my mind. It's appearing. Now this is manifestation, means that has become. Now I take a clay and make a pot out of. Pot has manifested from the clay. And we see here clay as pot, clay as pot. There is nothing new in that, nothing extra. The clay has become pot. It is just manifest. Clay, ocean of clay, it can take. Now ocean is there, actual ocean which we see. How many waves can be there? How many types of waves can be? Infinite. There is a flute with me. How many songs are there? Infinite songs can emerge out. The flute is manifesting number of songs, number of sounds, without itself getting affected or affecting the nature. Like that, universes appear in the Absolute, which is manifestation of that Absolute. So it is Absolute. Clay has created a pot. It is clay and clay alone, nothing else. It is in different dimension. Or the water heating, it becomes vapor. Vapor has become, the water has become vapor. It has changed its phase or state of existence. It has not undergone any change, but is appearing as, same water is appearing as solid when it condenses into ice, as gas when it is converted into vapor. But except water, nothing is there in steam or in ice. Like that is this universe. It is its manifestation and is pervaded by it also. Now space is pervading every object. The space is as it is. It has not displaced a place, space. Now a ball is there in the space and I move it. It is moving in the space. It is not displacing space. Space is as it is. It is penetrating and going. It is at all times, space is as it is and body is moving within it. Like light moving in glass. It is penetrating and moving in the glass. Suppose you keep a glass object in a lighted area. If you move, the light doesn't move. Because light is as it is, and in and through that, the glass bottle or glass object or glass solid is moving about. Same way, it is pervaded, everything is pervaded by space. Space, the pot or the, now book is there, when I move the book, it is not displaced. If I do it in water, it displaces the water. In space, it doesn't displace. Like is the Chaitanya. The universe appearing doesn't displace the Absolute. It is pervaded by the Absolute. The Absolute pervades it. So it is pervaded by the Absolute. Absolute is Chaitanya, Satchidananda Sagara. The Chaitanya, the consciousness, it's the ocean of consciousness. Like this is the ocean of space in which stars and so many things are there. Various levels of existence are there in that space. Like that, the universe is there in the Absolute, pervaded by it, and Chaitanya is pervading the whole universe. And that we call that Chaitanya, which is the absolute existence, pure consciousness, which is pervading the universe when it appears, is that consciousness is called Ishvara, the Lord of the universe. Similarly, I have an existence. This, do you understand? The consciousness which is pervading the universe is called the Ishvara, Paramatma, it is existence. It is existence which is pervading, and we call it the Ishvara. The Absolute is called the Brahman, the impersonal Absolute, impersonal God. For us, existence is God. That's why in Hinduism, question doesn't arise whether God exists. Existence, absolute existence, and relative existence. The absolute existence is the God impersonal. And the whole, this one, which we see, the universe, is impersonal, personal God. The consciousness, the absolute existence, the ocean of consciousness is existence, the absolute existence, which is infinite consciousness, eternal consciousness, we call impersonal God. And the same pervading this universe, we call Ishvara, or the personal God. So, to meditate on the impersonal Absolute and the personal God is entirely different from each other. This will have all guna, qualities are there, and all things are there here. Nama, Rupa, Guna. Their Nama, Rupa, Guna is not there. Impersonal and personal aspect of God. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.